Tensions are exploding across Eastern Europe. Satellite images, on-ground reports, and military observers all confirm the same alarming truth. The United States has deployed billions of dollars worth of armored vehicles just miles away from the Ukrainian border. Russia, visibly stunned, is now reassessing its strategy, and the world is watching closely. To fully understand the gravity of this moment, we must rewind the clock. Since 2022, the war in Ukraine has escalated beyond what many had predicted. NATO has increasingly shown its support for Kyiv, while Russia continues its aggressive military operations in the east and south of Ukraine. This new US deployment marks one of the largest single movements of armored hardware since the beginning of the conflict. The deployment reportedly includes over 101 A2 Abrams tanks, Bradley fighting vehicles, Stryker armored personnel carriers, and support logistics vehicles. These are not just any tanks. The N1 A2 Abrams is a fourth-generation main battle tank with state-of-the-art armor, thermal imaging, and firepower that can destroy enemy armor from over 2 kilometers away. So, why now? Intelligence reports suggest that Russia may be preparing for another major offensive in the Kharkiv or Donbas region. US officials believe that strengthening Ukraine's front lines preemptively could deter Russia from advancing further or at least slow its momentum. In a recent press briefing, the Pentagon confirmed the movement of armored units, but described them as strategic reinforcements rather than a direct escalation. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg echoed similar sentiments, calling the action a necessary measure to preserve stability and prevent further conflict. Moscow, however, sees things differently. The Kremlin released a fiery statement calling the move a blatant provocation and accused the US of escalating tensions under the pretense of defense. Russian state media aired footage of President Vladimir Putin meeting with his top military commanders, reportedly discussing countermeasures. The global response has been swift. Germany, France, and the UK have expressed support for the US move. China, meanwhile, has urged both sides to de-escalate, warning that any further military build-up risks spiraling into a broader regional conflict. Many experts fear that the proximity of such firepower raises the risk of miscalculation. For Ukraine, this is a massive morale boost. With more US armor in theater, Ukrainian forces can focus on offensive operations with the confidence that heavy support is nearby. But more importantly, it allows Ukraine to create buffer zones around key strategic points, such as Kyiv, Odessa, and the Zaporizhzhia region. Military analyst Michael Weiss notes, this kind of deployment sends a very loud message to Moscow that the US is no longer just supplying arms, it's actively positioning firepower that can alter the course of the war in hours. He added that this may shift how Russia calculates its next steps. Let's take a moment to talk about the N1 Abrams. This tank isn't just a symbol, it's a war machine. With a 120mm smoothbore cannon, depleted uranium armor, and an advanced targeting system, it is designed for one thing: dominance. In the flat terrain of eastern Ukraine, it could be a nightmare for Russian armored columns. But tanks alone don't win wars. Along with the Abrams, the US has positioned mobile repair units, drone support systems, command and control hubs, and rapid fuel logistics. In short, this is not a token force, it's a fully capable strike-ready formation. This brings us to a critical question. Is this the first step toward a direct US-Russia confrontation? While both sides insist they want to avoid war, the reality is that when heavily armed forces operate in close proximity, the chances of unintended engagements skyrocket. Beyond ground forces, sources indicate that the US has elevated its cyber defense status and has deployed additional surveillance drones over Eastern Europe. There's also chatter about stealth aircraft and AWACS planes conducting high-altitude reconnaissance. Zooming out, this moment may mark a turning point in the war and in global military dynamics. With the US committing this level of hardware, the conflict may no longer be limited to proxy engagement. This could redefine NATO's red lines, Russia's war doctrine, and Europe's collective defense posture.